Robert back here, Bluegrass Bushcraft. This old lantern has been hanging in my shop in my way for some time now. Decided I'm finally going to get this thing burning and get it out of my way. Look at this old girl. She's got character. I think I'm going to get it burning, clean the globe to let some light out of it, but I think I'm going to leave all the character. I don't think I'm going to polish it. I mean, it would look stupid with a polished fount and leave a vent on there like that. And these vents are getting pretty hard to find for this model. So this might even win an ugly lantern contest, but I would like to see it burn again. So if y'all want to stick around and watch, I'm going to give this a shot. Okay, I didn't mention this is a kerosene lantern. Model 249 is kerosene. And not only is this thing crusty, the valves, and there's no way to turn either one of them. The cleaning lever for the generator, it's frozen. The valve is frozen. This is going to be a challenge. First thing I want to do, see how bad that fuel cap, man, it is caked on there with years and years of dried up kerosene. Okay, I generally don't recommend this and I hate doing it, but in this case I'm definitely going to put leather and a pair of vice grips. I'm not going to squeeze it down enough to where it's going to warp anything, but I'm just going to snug it. That thing is tight. Yeah, she definitely see a fuel bubble there, so she's definitely still got some kerosene in her. Don't know how much. Look at that black. That's what the inside of this thing is going to look like black syrup. I don't think there could be much fuel left in that, but let's just see. Interesting. Green. Wonder if the kerosene over the years had some reaction with the brass. That fount is made of brass, nickel plated. So I wonder if it may have leached something out of that brass to turn that kerosene green. That vent nut off. Lift up on the top of this reflector. Gently pull it back. I don't want to take a chance on cracking that globe. Okay, the reason I couldn't pull that reflector off there, generally on these reflectors they got a couple of tabs and holes in here that will come up, tabs will come up through you tilt them and pull them out, but in this case, actually I think this is a homemade reflector, and they done a darn good job of it too. Yeah, they've hammered old hammer rivets in there. You can still see the hammer marks on them rivets. Now, that's too cool. Anyway, they've got like a hinge. Can't get in there to see it. I'll show you better when I get it off there. But let me try to straighten them wires out. If not, I'll have to cut them. This is a homemade reflector. I mean, they've been through own sheet metal. I can feel the hammer marks in it. You can't see it for the crud, but you can see the hammer marks in the rivets. You can see the hammer marks in the back of the rivets here. That's made out of a galvanized sheet metal and stainless steel for the reflector, it looks like. Very interesting. Somebody has really worked hard to build this reflector. They've got the chain wired through the bottom of the lantern, and again wired into the top right here. So when I put this back together, I'm definitely putting this back on here. Somebody loved this lantern enough to make a reflector like that. So the old crusty rusty chain and reflector will be going back on the lantern. I'm leaving all the character to it. So I'm just going to get this thing apart, get it going again. Alright, they were making sure that chain did not come off there. Had all that wire folded up in there, twisted up in there. See, they had the old dog chain where they could hang the lantern by the chain, and then another section of the chain came around and wired into the bottom of the lantern. The burner cage wired inside it. So they were making sure that thing did not go nowhere. Why they would need this other chain on here, I don't know, unless they're afraid the reflector would come off. I really don't know. So they had this wired to the lantern so where they could leave it hanging. Makes me curious to know what they use this lantern for. You can see that vent. It has took a beating wherever they did use it. The fount's in good shape, but something has peppered that enamel to death. Be really interested to know what they use this for. Okay, to remove these screws in this pump, I generally use a really small screwdriver, almost like a pocket top screwdriver, with a little clip on it. But these screws look pretty rusty. Look like they've been in there a long time. So bringing out the bad boy. It's way longer than what I need, but it does have a very thin tip on it. Has a little beefier handle for me to get some leverage on that. So that's the only reason I'm using this huge screwdriver. Turn it loose okay. This one's a little tighter. She freed right up though. Don't want to lose them screws. Them things hard to come by. Now see if we can pull this pump out of here. Well, hard as a rock, no cracks in it. Let's go ahead and drop this into some neat foot oil. Let it soak a day or two, maybe a week. Might be able to save it. We'll see. I always forget to loosen that stem while I've got the pump in it. Okay, this preheat cup, got a little clip that mounts around that air tube that well, still got the alarm on it, but for some reason he has wired a wire around that generator and twisted around that air tube to hold that up. I'm not sure why he's done that. Well, should have had two of these arms, one on each side, and one's broke off. So someone has put the wire on there to hold that up, and that will stay as well. That's part of the lantern now. Okay, next there's a wing nut in here. I've sprayed it with some WD-40, let it soak a little bit, but I'm impatient, so can't turn it by hand. Well, take that back. I couldn't turn it by hand, but after soaking just a few minutes in the WD-40, it just turned right loose. How about that? Something actually went right for a change. Now that whole burner cage will lift straight off of there. Okay, it's going to take a 9/16 wrench to turn that generator bolt off there. This one's a little bent. I've done that myself on purpose. I heated it and bent it. So on some of my 220 lanterns, it's really tight to get to that nut that holds that burner cage on. The cage comes up, so you got to kind of get down at an angle like that. So that's my homemade specialty wrench. And the generators are huge on these old 249s. It did slide right apart. Needle's still intact, so our generator's going to be in good shape. Oh yeah, I figured that this would be all gummed up with years of baked in and stored kerosene, but it's in really decent shape. I'm really surprised. So we got a good generator. Now we have the issue of this cleaning lever will not turn. So I can't release that cleaning rod. It's too far. Yeah, it came out. Thought I'd have to raise it first, but I was able to hold it at an angle and pull it out. Let's put that off the side for a vinegar bath. Next, I want to remove this collar. There's a slot cut in the bottom under that valve there. Should be able to gently pull it forward and lift it up over the valve stem. Turn it off and bring it out. Get the cobwebs off of it. Like I said, I don't think I'm going to clean this. I'm going to leave it crusty and rusty. Except I just want to get this thing running. That's all I want. Okay, my valve and tip cleaner are both frozen up. So hopefully with a little bit of heat from a torch and a little bit of luck, they'll free right up. Being really gentle with this. I'm not forcing anything. So I don't want to break my rod. Got a little bit of play in it now. Give you a closer look now. I'm still going to use these pliers because it's still hot. As you can see, it's bring it up. My eccentric block comes up. Turn it back down. Eccentric block goes back down. So that one's freed up. Now hopefully we'll have the same progress on the valve. And there we go. That one freed up real easy. Just a little heat. That's what I'm talking about right there. I couldn't turn that at all before. Okay, next step is to remove the whole valve assembly from the fount. On a standard steel fount, I will heat that bung with a torch and turn that out of there. But on these nickel, they're brass founts with nickel plated, they seem to be a little thinner and softer. And I've had experience where I've heated that bung and it gets soft and it's really easy to bend the top of that fount. So I don't want to do that, so I'm going to try to remove this without heat. So wish me luck. Just got my homemade tool here. It's just a deep well ratchet and socket. Took a grinder and ground out the sides of it there. Put leather across that to protect the brass. This will slide right over. And not sure if that rubber is going to hold it in there, but just cross your fingers. Nope, whole fount's turning. Let me try something a little different here. Put a thicker rubber in there, see what happens. Okay, I'm going to have to make me another lantern vise for smaller founts. That's another day, another time. I moved to plan B. Took out my lantern vise out of my bench vise, and put the leather on there. Just gonna snug that down and hopefully be able to turn this fount off of the valve. My lantern vise should hold it tight enough for me to get the check valve out. It's not actually spinning the fount. I'm afraid to look at this. Got a feeling it's going to be nasty. Oh yeah, look at that. Yeah, it don't get much more nasty than that. Like a green slime built up right there from that fuel that had turned green. But I'm going to boil this whole piece in vinegar and it should clean right up. Good thing about the kerosene fuel pickup tubes, you don't have to have the spring and rod and stuff in it, because I mean it picks up just the straight kerosene. It don't need the air. It vaporizes from the heat of the generator. Okay, next step, gotta get that check valve out of there. Copperhead BBs. Here's the point where some of my viewers are going to look at this video and say, what is this boy doing? No, I haven't fully lost my mind yet. Put the BBs in there, and I'm going to fill the fount with acetone. And, well, not fill it, but I'm going to put some acetone in it, and I'm going to shake it around. And those BBs rolling and banging around the inside will help loosen up the gunk in there. This acetone will dissolve it. I'll put my thumb over that bung hole. Here are them BBs rolling around in there. That's what I want. Try to cover that. Turn it over, shake it every which way but loose. Let's see what comes out of there. Yeah, look at that. Nastiness. Yeah, look what was inside that thing. That is still coming out of there nasty. Well, I told you this thing was nasty, I meant it. So I'm going to keep repeating this process until I get this fount cleaned out. Okay, last step, completely disassemble this lantern, is to remove this fuel cap gasket. And do that by tightening the cap all the way down. Let's see if we can remove this screw. Don't want to lose that. Put it in my parts bucket. There. Put the screw and the two pieces. That's considered a three-piece cap. I still have this full of acetone. I rinsed it and rinsed it and rinsed it. And it started coming out a little more clear, but it's still pretty nasty, so I filled it completely full. And I'm just going to let it soak for a while, let that acetone do its thing, and then I'll shake it up again and pour it out and see what kind of result we get. I'm going to burn the old fuel cap gasket out of there. Simple process. Heat it with a torch. It's going to be kind of hard to do this without being in the way of the camera, but I'm going to try. Make sure you get all the debris out of there. You don't want any of that hard gasket left in there. Okay, last step. I'm going to try to remove these air tubes. Kind of tricky. I don't know if I can or not. I'm going to have to heat this side with the torch, and the opposite side with the torch. Put a piece of leather around the air tube and a pair of vice grips and try to turn it out. The bottom end is a factory flare fitting on the bottom of the air tube, so that don't come off the bottom. So I'm going to have to try to turn it out from just the one end, and this end should spin freely. So wish me luck. Thought I had the camera running, but I didn't. But I heated the burner frame, the top of it there, from both sides, and I was able to thread out the tube for the burner screen. Just wrapped a piece of leather around it. It was already chewed up like that, but I wrapped a piece of leather around it and was able to turn it out. I'm just going to gently wrap the leather around it, gently turn it if I can. Okay, I've got it free. Already done the other side. Now I'm going to take a WD-40 and spray in it to kind of loosen up them threads a little bit, get a lubrication while I'm turning them out. Keep working that spring. I'll try to make it go all the way around that U. Don't know if I'll be able to or not. Anyway, I need to make sure that it goes all the way through that U, because there could be a small amount of a mud dauber nest up in there, and that's all it takes is just a little dot of mud dauber nest to block off enough airflow where these things don't breathe properly. Okay, off camera, I did get that through there. I know that the camera's not going to pick it up, but I can see the spring in this other tube. It's gone all the way through the U, and it's catching. It's trying to feed itself back into this section right here. I can't get it past that, but I can see the spring, so that's really all I need. I mean, I know there's no debris in there now. This is fed all the way through. So that's that. There's no blockages. Okay, I can see directly through the main air tubes. There is no blockage. Yeah, a few spider webs in the bottom of that one, and that will block the airflow too. But and compressed air is not enough to run through these tubes and push out cobwebs and mud daubers. You need to make sure they are completely free of debris, or they will not breathe right, and you're going to have nothing but trouble. Okay, sorry it's going to been such a long video, but I'm trying not to skip any steps here. This has been, I'm not going to say a difficult task. Anybody can do this, but it has given me a few challenge. So, but I do enjoy it, and hopefully this can help somebody out down the road that may have a Model 249 that they want to get going again. So I'll edit out what I can, but like I said, I don't want to skip anything. I mean, I can fast forward through some of the stuff that I've done and cut out a few little pauses and stuff, but this video is going to be pretty long, and I do apologize for that. So, y'all know the routine. Like, share, subscribe. God bless.